Is that Sharks top 8ing a regional? Yes, yes it is. Like 30% of you guys have not smashed that living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can climb up, you guessed it, the 100K ladder. So Regina, Saskatchewan regional has come and gone for the side deck here. And guess what? Your most represented deck was Despia. Yeah, I know. At this point in time, so much Despia. Hey, you know what? See it this way. At least the deck isn't totally unbeatable. Looking at like the YCS and things like that, seeing like the conversion top cut rate of that deck, and seeing how it's getting, you know, a little bit more checked via certain things in the format, that's okay. You know what? I'll take it. We also have 2 10-Eve Sword Souls in the deck. Okay, basic stuff. We're very well aware of these two contenders. I mean, after all, they are battling it out at the top of the format here for the better and best decks here. Now, your rogue for this event, we had DDD. Now, DDD's been kind of a nice little token to kind of demonstrate that the format likes these really weird combo decks. And, you know, the fact this deck has its own dedicated player base at this point in time that have learned the extensive combos from that crazy combo sheet is nothing short of absolutely amazing. We also had an Adventure Plunder Patrol deck in top cut for this event as well. Now, Plunder Patrol is another one of those decks that while we look at it and we're like, what are you doing? You know, step ship. But the problem is just that. You need specific elements in order to kind of capitalize and get off to a good start. But it did top 8. And then the weirdest thing out of this event was Sharks actually got a top 8 for this. Now, I'm not particularly shocked that Sharks had the chance to top, but it's really weird that it came in 6th. I feel like this would have been an 8th place buster, but you know what? I'm really happy to see that this deck managed to make its way in here. Let's pass it on over to those deck lists, shall we? Your first deck list for this event is none other than Sword Soul Tenyi. This build is playing 41 cards, ladies and gentlemen, with triple Vessel and triple Heavenly Dragon Cycle. Now, a lot of people have cut back on the Heavenly Dragon Cycle at this point in time to like 2 and 2 here. So to see a build going full gas to the floor with that is kind of interesting. I also see here that we're not playing 3 Vishuddha. We're just playing 2 at this point in time. And then we're only playing, well, we're playing 1 Synthana, which is fine. We are on Triple Incredible Ecclesia. I remember the very early stages of this format where people out here were trying to play 2 of these things. Alright. Outside of that, double Imperm, I guess, is fine. Double Space Rock, double Crow is fine. 2 Anti-Spell and triple Dimensional Barrier to kind of curve out some of those more troublesome matchups. And then, yeah, evenly matches so you can get even lead with your opponent. No pun intended here. But this particular list feels very, very standard for what you would expect out of Sword Soul Tenyi. Oh boy, what in the world are we doing here? We're playing Giotto? What? This card destroyed by card effect. So summon a Yangzing monster from your deck in attack position. We're just playing this as a level 2 tuner, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's just that. Just a level 2 tuner. No way. I'm actually surprised. So we could technically revive this and then do some combo stuff down here. It is something I guess we can spam off of Yazi to, like, reverse engineer climb up, but okay, I see we have Formula Synchron in here. What in the world is this deck doing? This looks like a pretty interesting take on Sword Soul Tenyi. We don't have anything in here really too much in terms of value for this. It's just acting, I believe, as a level 2 tuner for the deck, which, okay. I mean, having an in-house worm tuner seems like it worked out relatively well for this build. Outside of that, very standard, I guess. Next up here is our DDD list. And once again, you kind of see Small World kind of stepping up and trying to fill the gaps for some of these decks. The fact that, I mean, you just get free access to whatever you want in your deck effectively here. One cool thing here is we are playing Phantasme in here. Phantasme has long since taken a backseat, which is actually kind of hilarious. But to see this kind of showing up, it's a one of, and if it comes up in a certain situation, it's fine. If not, you board it out, right? If you're against something that doesn't link spam, just side it out, all right? You can fix your own problems very, very easily with this. So this is actually kind of an interesting little spin on things. I do like the inclusion of this. Outside of that, I think everything I guess you can say that the only Lamia. Is that standard at this point? I'm not too sure. I'm not an expert in the DDD school of combo, but very, very interesting in terms of a DDD list. Next up here is our first Despia list. You know, Branded Sword out here has been getting a lot more play as of late. And for whatever reason, this card's second effect is obviously like your value. Banish this card from your graveyard. Target a banished monster that has Fallen of Albaz or mentions it and add it to your hand. So we can technically recur back our Mercurier off of this after we banish it and go do all of our Mercurier plays. I have noticed that there has been a slight uptick in people trying to play triple Fallen of Albaz. This build is still sticking on the older formula of 2, but it's not like you can't Albion drop this anyway. So you can kind of set up also, you know, triple Super probably in the main deck. I don't see... There's nothing really too out of left field. Obviously, like Kit in here for like extension, the one incredible Ecclesia. You have all of your little extra tech things in here. No Alba Lenitus as well. Kind of big old Sag. Poor Lenitus. Maybe someday. Next up here, we have our Plunder Patrol adventure deck. And yes, we are sporting off the Change of Heart in here. Honestly, if you see the Change of Heart in this deck, I feel like you're off to the races, because this is just going to kind of capitalize spin out of control for your opponent. Like, especially since Plunder... this deck can go first and second, right? Obviously, like, you're playing the adventure package here, so you can, you know, stabilize and set up a lot easier. But, I don't know. As we'll see, of course, Illegal Knight's going to get a whole lot more value in this deck. Illegal Knight in this deck is actually just kind of free real estate. Not only acting as a second disruption, yeah, like, who cares if you pass it over to your opponent? Like, unless your opponent's playing, like, some synchro combo build, like, handing them an Illegal Knight for like a double bounce is okay. Like, you don't get punished whatsoever for doing that. Outside of that, I'm glad to see Gamma seeing a little bit more play in this format. But outside of that, this is one of your standard rogue contenders at this point in time. You should be very familiar with how this deck wants to work. Next up is... Holy moly. This is so... We're playing only one Lantern Shark. Okay. One right hand, which was pretty standard for what we were doing with this deck very early on. Double Synthona. You gotta remember, Synthona is actually a starter for this deck because it specializes itself as a level 4 water monster, which is very important. Double Desires with double Prosp, so you can technically go search for your thing. Remember, you have Crooked Cook as a backup plan. You can laugh at your opponent, you know, in your right-hand shark, lock them. Or your other game plan is to go into the big Kraken spawn here with Goes and Match Floodgate at your opponent. It's not as reliable as the Zombie World Rivalry lock, personally. But nonetheless, this is something that is going to continue to show up and do its thing. Outside of that, like I said, for a Rogue Buster... This is actually pretty freaking awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Do not underestimate what, you know, kind of picking up your toys and wanting to go have a good time at a regional can lead you. Next up here, another Despia list. So this is by far probably your most standard of old standard decks for this. You're on the triple Mercurier here. Now, we did see that Mercurier has dramatically been reduced quite a lot in terms of the playstyle for this deck, because there's just a lot more value to be had in other places. You can shrink down the deck size a little bit here, but yes, it was typical of playing Allure with triple Mercurier, but like I said, you've long since kind of started to see this reducing. It's not that this won't see success. This is just one of the big things that attribute to it. And also, double Branded Lost. We've also seen Branded Lost kind of cut back a little bit as well, which is actually not bad. And I see down here that we are playing the one Sprint. This is actually kind of a nice little super... so this actually is an out if your opponent contact sees you. So if you see the contact see coming, you actually side this in. So you actually have a better option to kind of counteract that. Gotta love having all the options here. And our last Despia list here is... Okay, no Mercuriers in here, no Allure Darknesses. This is the more basic side of things here. You see we have the double, or the one Fairy Tale Snow, double Albion, holy moly. And of course, there's your triple Fallen of Albaz. You should be pretty used to seeing at this point in time. Triple Cross of Designator to handle down hand traps. Yeah, I don't see anything else too left field for this. Like I said, when this deck standardizes itself, it is very, very standard for the most part. So what do you guys think about this regional breakdown? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you're saying. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on the day of some more cool ass content. Peace out, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.